اللي شايفه حلم أو خيال، أوصف الجمال ده أقول في إيه؟ اللي جه وشاف ده كله قال بصوا شوفوا مصر عاملة إيه.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're very much honored to have with us Dr. Amira Al-Sabak, Strategic Management and Self-Development Expert, to talk more about the Cooperative Housing Conference. Thank you very much, Dr. Amira, for coming today.
Always a pleasure being with you.
Thank you very much. Now, to start with, since Egypt is for the very first time organizing the first ministerial African Cooperative Conference, what does that mean?
Actually, it means a lot. Today, 17th of October, will be a day that will be remembered by all Egyptians. It's a day of achievement and glory because, you know, sometimes when we are taking our steps in economic development, some nations started to say maybe Egypt is not strong enough to go through all they are planning, they are not strong enough. We got some doubt from different nations. Today, 17th of October, is a reply to all these nations. No, we are capable of doing lots of things. Picking Egypt to be the host, this means that Egypt is a place, number one, it's a place of security, because security is very important for such conferences. Number two, so we are secure. Number two, the Egyptian authorities are people who are capable of communication. Such a conference, we are delivering a message to the whole world and between us as African countries. So, when we pick Egypt, this means that Egypt is seen by these countries as a proactive place. We are not reactive to incidents. No, we are proactive, and we are calling the conference with our agenda, and we are working on it to reach consensus, not to have conflict. It means that Egypt is capable of boosting the cooperation between countries through its wisdom in handling conflicts, issues. Egypt is capable of ending or getting output of these conferences in a win-win situation. When I say a conference to be held in a place, it means that I believe that this place will be capable of hosting and resolving and secure enough for everyone in the conference. So we are focusing on the conference itself. Egypt in the past was sometimes seen as place of little bit of terrorism or little bit of horror in it. Now when I say, yes, we are starting in a new place, we are inviting all these countries, we are willing to take part in new Africa growth. It means we are capable of setting a good agenda, and this is part that Egypt is playing. We have the knowledge and the skills to follow the agenda till implementation phase, and we are capable of handling any conflict or any obstacle that might happen through the conference. So I think that picking Egypt, this means that Egypt is strong enough to handle any obstacle and to take the conference to a new place where it gets into implementation easily.
Yes, and actually new, if we're talking about new, the conference is being held in the new administrative capital, which is again part of sending the message that Egypt is establishing the new republic with all the goals that you just mentioned, Dr. Amira.
Having a new place with the constructive expansion that we are seeing now in Egypt, this means that even when we expand in our places, it is not something for 10 years or 20 years now. This area is new, but still it is live, and we can host conferences in it. There are people who can go there and live, which means that it is well planned for.
Of course,
this is an evidence that it is well planned for.
Yes. Egypt's hosting of 52 African countries. How do you see that with regards to Egypt's goals in strengthening its relations with African continent?
Okay, when we talk about Africa and this big number of countries, as we said, we are working on Africa after 40 years from now. We are having a plan for 2063. This plan includes lots of items in the agenda, like cooperation, like sustainability, like development. When we talk about sustainability that is taking place in the whole world now, It means that we have to keep our resources, we have to be efficient, we have to minimize our usage of our resources. So when we say I'm dealing with 52 countries, it means I studied well the need for each country. I know the root cause of the problem for each country. I, as Egypt, studied each country with its needs. I made the analysis. I know where the gaps are, and I have a solution and I have a plan. So hosting this big number of countries was not easy for any other countries, because now we are in an era that we are, as African, we want to go to a new step, okay? All of the African countries, we are not satisfied by where we are now. We are not, we see that we have the potential and the opportunity to go to a farther place, all the African countries. So picking Egypt to be the central place or the headquarters for this conference, it means that this is the place that we will all as countries will refuse to when we have conflict, when we need support, when we need to analyze and put a plan for something. This shows that Egypt, with its authorities, with its resources, even if it is not that big, we are ready to handle all the problems, all the issues, all the concerns. We are ready to resolve all the conflicts. We are ready to, let me say it in another word, to begin a new world with an end in mind. We as Egyptians, we can see a big vision for all the African countries. And I think Egypt has proven to the whole world that when we have a vision, we know how to reach it. We know how to fulfill what we are dreaming, because a vision is a dream. So when all these African countries pick Egypt and Egypt hosts them, it is a big belief that, yes, Egypt is capable of handling all these countries with all its obstacles. Egypt is capable of analyzing the issue, reaching the problems, and putting solutions. When we talk about the personnel in the Egyptian administration, these days, even the army or the civil community, we are speaking a different language. We're speaking about 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. We are not speaking about today.
And we're speaking partnership between the government institutions, the private sector, and the civil society as well.
That's true, and even the way we are thinking has been spreading through all the African countries. So I can say now, and I believe a lot, that Egypt has become like a lighthouse to other African countries. It has become a role model in the way we are achieving our successes, and it is sent to the whole world, and especially the African world.
Yes, definitely. Dr. Amira, when it comes to Egypt's experience, urban experience in housing, I think that Egypt has embarked on a new urban housing experience, and perhaps this put Egypt on a new map when it comes to that field. Egypt has been establishing housing units for instead of the slums, areas, for the limited income people. It has been establishing so many projects when it comes to housing to cater for all the needs of the various categories of Egyptians. How do you see that?
Speaking of this, we have to mention again Haya Karima as one of the examples, that now all the areas that were really people of need living in these poor area that has no water supplies, no electricity supply, no proper living style. Now we can see, as you said, millions of families are now having good place to live in. The expansion of the cities, like in 6th of October or the new administrative capital, or in everywhere in Egypt, we have lots of expansions with millions of housing places for families who have low income and middle income.
And providing the services, the universities, the schools, the hospitals, the everything.
So we don't have a desert place now, or deserted place now. Egypt now is planning, whenever we are starting or we're having an expansion for a new city, we are having the facilities before even people go and live there.
And the infrastructure, of course.
The infrastructure. And now people are not worried to go, because even the transportation is easier now. The roads are much easier now. All the facilities are there. So we cannot say that any place now in Egypt is far away from any place.
Yes, true.
The good planning of the country in the infrastructure of the new cities, the good planning in having new job opportunities in these places, the good planning of motivating especially youth to go and live there. You can pay little amount or you can pay on installments and live and have a decent life. This shows that Egypt now is not just putting money in a place that it will be lost. No, we are putting our money and we are getting lots of benefit. Now in Egypt, the middle class or the people with low income are getting a higher living standard than it used to be.
Yes.
Education, supplies, facilities, utilities, even the entertainment places.
Definitely. I'd like to thank you very much, Dr. Amira Sobak, Strategic Management and Self-Development Expert. Thank you very much for being with us. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us in this edition of Women's World. I'm Hala Al-Hamilawi signing off for now.